What up, peeps? Joe Passarelli here. Wanted to talk a little bit of NBA hoops today. Did a lot of wrestling reaction from last night's Raw with a lot of big stories that came out of it. Wanted to get some more sports today. A lot of big rumors floating around. Watching sports radio, watching Felger and Maz, listening to all the news that's been thrown around that the Celtics may be interested in pursuing Carmelo Anthony. Of course, forward from the New York Knicks, one of the top scorers in the NBA. Many people have differing opinions on Melo. Apparently those people outside don't like Melo because they're revving their engines just so I can't record my video. But that's neither here nor there. Big rumors surrounding the Celtics. Some sources have the Celtics very close to acquiring Kevin Love. I don't know how true that is. I'm, at this point, taking the process one day at a time. I know the NBA draft is in a few weeks. Thursday, the end of June, after the NBA finals conclude. So, certainly I feel we're going to get a lot of resolution in terms of what the Celtics are going to look like. Of course, me, I'm a green teamer. I tend to focus more on the Celtics on my NBA coverage. That's just kind of the way how I roll. Gonna be real interesting. Of course, you still have Rajon Rondo there. His future, I think, is really up to what happens this summer. If we're to keep Rajon Rondo, I think we are to make a play at some significant all-stars, i.e. Kevin Love, Carmelo Anthony, just to name a few. If we are going to continue to go in this younger direction, keep building with our draft picks, and essentially coin all those young assets and draft picks into getting those assets like we did with Kevin Garnett and Paul Pierce, well, we certainly have the assets to make a run at doing that this summer, but we could always wait it out as well and see what the market shows in terms of free agency and upcoming NBA prospects in the next few years. Celtics have a lot of assets, of course, 3 draft picks from the Brooklyn Nets for the Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett trade, which ironically Kevin Garnett's probably going to retire, and Paul Pierce, I wouldn't be shocked if he left Brooklyn. I wouldn't be shocked if he actually came back to the Celtics on a veteran legends kind of deal to retire there, which I think would be quite interesting, to tell you the truth. I think the truth back in Boston would be best for business if we are to go to the trying to go for a championship route. Now, Carmelo Anthony, obviously, he's not had a lot of success from a team aspect in the NBA. With Denver, they never got past, I think they got to the conference finals once, but they never really got past that plateau. I believe Carmelo Anthony's been in 11 playoff series in his career, and he's only won 3. One of them being against the Celtics a couple years ago, the last run of Garnett and Pierce before we traded them, as the Knicks defeated us in the playoffs. And you know what? They were so mentally fragile. They were up 3-0. The Knicks were up 3-0 on the Celtics, and the Celtics still won 2 games to get it to 3-2 to get it to real interesting. So with Carmelo Anthony, clearly he's not on the pedestal of LeBron James, even though he came in the same draft class. Clearly he's not on the same pedestal as Kevin Durant. But here's a guy with the right pieces, I think knows that his legacy is on the line if he doesn't win an NBA championship. That he is going to be, not just in the Charles Barkley category and in the Patrick Ewing category, but he may be in the Stephon Marbury category in terms of prolific scorers, but guys who didn't do jack shit in the playoffs and never came even close to winning an NBA championship. Now, many people can talk about Kevin Garnett. When he came to the Celtics, he had only gotten to the conference finals once. Well, one thing you couldn't question about Garnett was his competitiveness. Now, with Carmelo, obviously he's a prolific scorer, 6'8", 6'9" forward. He can rebound, he can pass when he puts his mind to it. But he's one of those players that you just never know on a day-to-day, consistent basis what kind of effort he's going to give you, with the exception of the consistent scoring. Of course, he's never really played with a true prolific point guard. He played with Allen Iverson before, but Allen Iverson was really not much of a true point guard, more of a scorer, just like Carmelo. And obviously that didn't work out quite well in Denver. Now, if you were to play with Rajon Rondo, say what you want about the guy, certainly he's an enigma and a heat seeker in and of itself. If Rajon Rondo were to play with, if Carmelo Anthony were to play with the likes of Rajon Rondo and potentially Kevin Love, as the rumors suggest, I think that would actually be a team that Carmelo could thrive on. You'd have a big man who is one of the most prolific rebounders in the NBA, who also has a deep range shot, who could benefit if Melo were to penetrate and kick. Of course, you have Rajon Rondo, who would be dictating a lot of the ball handling, and getting Melo open opportunities to shoot and slash, but not necessarily, but, taking the ball out of his hands, so he's not taking the ball up himself and not handling the ball nearly as much. That's what's going to happen. Look, people have to make sacrifices in order to attain their greater goals. When the Celtics brought in Kevin Garnett, Paul Pierce, and Ray Allen, they all had to make sacrifices in their scoring averages in order to pursue a championship and make the team aspect work. Really the same thing with Miami. I mean, I know LeBron's been the prolific star, but obviously Chris Bosh and Dwayne Wade were prolific stars in their own right, and they've taken back seats to LeBron James to make it work. You got to know your role. And obviously, Carmelo Anthony, he would be a highly featured, prolific player for the Celtics. But obviously, he brings a lot of baggage, and a lot of Celtic fans really have already made up their mind they're not fans of Carmelo Anthony. They're not embracing him like the potential idea of Kevin Love. Well, I just want to say this. Kevin Love and Rajon Rondo is not enough to win a championship. Maybe enough to get to the Eastern Conference Finals. Possibly. Certainly not enough, especially if you're giving up Sullinger and other young assets. Not enough to win a championship. Carmelo Anthony looks like he's going to opt out from the New York Knicks. Phil Jackson's trying to get him to stay for his final year, sign an extension. I highly doubt that's happening, given the instability of the Knicks, lack of a head coach right now, lack of a good team. You have all these older players that really aren't meshing and really aren't fitting. It seemed like the Knicks had taken a step back from the year previous where they went to the conference semis. And obviously a lot of opinions and a lot of questions. But folks, what do you think? Question of the day. Is Carmelo Anthony coming to the Boston Celtics a good thing for Boston? Or is it a bad thing? Will he throw off chemistry? Will he bring a loser mentality? Will he be a ball hog and not share the spotlight and not let a guy like Kevin Love or Rajon Rondo shine? And let's face it, we don't know what's going to happen. This is all pure speculatory. Rajon Rondo could get traded. Kevin Love could go anywhere. And certainly Carmelo Anthony is going to have his choices of places to go. I wouldn't rule out Chicago as a potential landing spot for Carmelo Anthony, or the Los Angeles Lakers as well, which have also been rumored in Kevin Love and for the Los Angeles Lakers and the Bulls. So the Celtics have some competition, but the Celtics do have the most assets to offer, especially for the Timberwolves to make that trade. So, folks, what do you think? Should the Celtics try to reassemble a big three with Rajon Rondo, Kevin Love, and Carmelo Anthony? Should they continue to build with young assets and make a power play when the appropriate time presents itself? What do you think? Like, subscribe, bleed green! Let's go Celtics!